Hello friends, it's Armstrong here from Other Miniatures, and today I decided to do something a little bit different. I decided to do a 3 zeros. So a piece of terrain which is zero cost, pretty much zero effort, and close enough to zero skills. Yes, so we're gonna be working on a piece of terrain that is basically for any beginning wargamer or crafter. Yeah, like this is probably the first hill that I ever crafted. The material for the same hill that I ever crafted. So this is gonna be the low cost terrain, hopefully. Yeah, and we'll see how it's turned out. We're gonna, I want to add some pieces to my I want to make a board for a Necromunda Ash Wastes. Yeah, but I want to double it up as a Mars terrain, so I can use it either for Gaslands, as an obstacle, or I can use it for Warhammer 40k for my AdMech or Adeptus Mechanicus or whatever they are called right now. Yeah, and yeah, so this is gonna be, instead of a normal like green, it's gonna be red. That's the entire difference. Yeah. But you can use it for any kind of a wargaming, like Age of Sigmar, or if you painted metallic, it could be just some sort of a metallic structure. Yeah, we're gonna go from a simple structure to a little bit more effort to kind of higher level. Well, I wouldn't think that I could do higher level with Mars, but yeah, we'll see what I can craft from this little food container. Yeah. So I just got on the table and start building. So what we have in here is the most beginner friendly hill, wargaming hill in the history of beginner friendly wargaming hills. I think that only easier one was just throwing a couple of books on the table and covering them with a cloth. So first thing, what I'm gonna do is just cover it in red. Yeah, because like I said, it's gonna be a Martian hill. And why I do the paint first, yeah, even though I'm gonna be doing more to it later on. I don't want any of this white color to be sticking out through the next layers. So I'm gonna be painting this, then I'm gonna be adding stuff, yeah. But basic thing is just, one of those boxes just fully painted in one given color, yeah, and that's basically the entire craft. Yeah, this is the easiest and the most robust wargaming hill. Yeah, because there is nothing that can really fall off it. Yeah, so if you just get one, take the file and get rid of all of the writing on it, because there is usually the type of the styrofoam being printed on it, and if it is a food save or not, or whatever, yeah, then you are pretty much done with the hill. Yeah, of course, I'm gonna finish painting this, then we're gonna go to the next step, to make it a little bit more fancy and look a little bit less like a food container, little bit more like a Martian hill. Yeah, but I'm gonna finish painting off screen. And here we have our basic form of that terrain. Yeah, just a normal red hill. Yeah, you can grab anything and put it on it. It's in my opinion, for the beginner gamer, it is one of the most kind of sensible piece of terrain, because there is no tearing of this, there is no hassle with it. If it breaks, you literally paid nothing for it, maybe just the cost of the paint. Yeah, and it's nothing that you would be too worried about putting minis on. Yeah, let's just say I put this guy on, this stands correctly, the vertical space is very easy to traverse, so you don't have to, in the games, when you have actually cost of the movement of the vertical space, you don't have to pay for that movement too much. Yeah, and you have flat surface. There is a half an inch in here. Yeah, maybe inch and a half, maybe 2 to the top. Yeah, and it is a nice line of sight blocker because that guy from the behind wouldn't be able to see guy in here. Yeah, so it's a very easy, very simple and win-win for every gamer. You can place any kind of terrain on that. Any minis, it is stable enough at least. Well, my mat is bent, so that's why it is kind of, you know, jumping around. But yeah, so the next step, yeah, sand. You can find it in any sandbox, quite literally, you know. So we can add sand. So I think that I still have some super glue. Yep, not super glue, I mean the white glue. I think that this one is old, but still. Yeah, it was mixed with something else, but it's gonna work. So we just grab some white glue, yeah. And in here we are going into the areas, you know, exceeding basically 3, but this is what you can do just to upgrade your hill. Yeah, just add PVA. First of all, it's gonna harden the shell on that. Yeah, and secondly, yeah, you're gonna get your sand. I actually gonna have, I have in here like the little chips, yeah. This used to be sold in a Games Workshop kit. I got that ages ago. Yeah, but it's neither here nor there. You can just use a sandbox sand, or you can use a cat litter or sawdust, yeah. And you're just gonna add that to the surface. Yeah, I'm not gonna add too much because I didn't put any paper under it. So if I gonna start shaking it off, it's gonna start falling everywhere on my desk. Yeah, but you just put it around. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put that on the desk, on the hill, on the entire hill, and I'll be back with the covered product. And now we have our second stage almost finished. Yeah, so you, more keen-eyed of you may notice that the hill is more green than red and grey. Yeah, it's happened because, well, I ran out of the grey rocks and I switched to the green gravel that I have. Yeah, you can have green gravel by basically just taking sand and painting it and then drying it off. Yeah, so that's it. Of course this is gonna be painted, yeah, but now comes the hardest part, at least for me, for this entire process, and that hardest part is to allow this to dry. Yeah, and PVA have a long drying time. So the second hardest part is to remember to record the second, to continue recording that video, you know, to finish this project. So if this is posted, you know, in the first week of January 2024, I managed to succeed. If it isn't, yeah, that's the usual stuff happening. Yeah, but I'm gonna jump out for now, and I'm gonna come back with, you know, of course, red paint. Yeah, once this is all dry. And then we're gonna think if we can bring it up a little bit more, you know, to cool standard after we have this painted. Yeah, so it's probably gonna be either today evening or tomorrow morning when I'm gonna be working on this again. But anyway, I'll be back in a few seconds. So now that we have it this somewhat dry, yeah, there are still some spots which are quite wet, but it's kind of holding solidly. Yeah, what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna take a big brush, my paint of choice. I would advise actually, instead of using Games Workshop paints, just use a craft paint. It would be much cheaper, but I did quite recently just throw out all of my craft paints because, well, yeah, this entire renovation of my house did actually cause a lot of stir. So you see right now, because of this, that I'm putting a next layer of paint, I'm gonna be locking everything inside of the paint with the glue, because the glue gonna slightly reactivate after you add the paint. Yeah, so that's why fan brush is actually so good, because it's kind of flimsy, so it goes in between all of those little rocks and cracks and just, you know, help permeate everything with the red paint. Yeah. So I'm gonna keep on going until I have this finished and be right back. So now technically we have a finished hill. Yeah, there is still a little bit of that green showing through, but you know, it can just give an extra detail to the entire piece of terrain. Yeah, technically it is finished, but we can of course, you know, push it a little bit further. Yeah, it's not a rocket science. Basically, let's just take my favorite, you know, color, blazing orange. Well, not my favorite, yellow is my favorite, but blazing orange is probably second after it. And then just do a dry brush over the surface of this. Yeah, those little rocks gonna start picking up that light orange color. And, you know, since apparently in 40K the surface of Mars is more of a rust, really, than anything else. Yeah, it would be more of an orange planet than the red planet, in my opinion. Or maybe I'm completely wrong. But just thinking how much of the equipment Adeptus Mechanicus do have there made out of metals, I'm assuming that there would be a ton of rust in there. So there we go, just a quick dry brush to help this to get a little bit more alive. And I'll be right back after I finish the sides. So again, technically we have a finish hill, but if you have pastels, you can scrape them and make a powder and add to this. You know, I'm lucky enough that I actually have my pigments. So I have two different colors of the rust pigment, so it is lighter, this is darker. So let's just grab a kind of crappy brush. Whatever, come on, crappy brush, yeah, this one is definitely crappy. And just start applying a little bit of both of them to make it look more dusty. And since the paint is probably still a little bit tacky in here, it's gonna help keeping it in. So yeah, this adds a lot of dustiness, I love that. You can see how it mellows everything together. But I'm not adding this everywhere because, well, with the weathering pigments it would be probably quite expensive endeavor. Well, not very, because they are like, I bought them for like equivalent of about €2 each. Yeah, and I know that they cost like 8 in the stores normally, but apparently, you know, different countries have different exchange for those. Yeah, so maybe I'm wrong, maybe it was around €8. It's just, you know, I'm old and I forgetting stuff. Yeah, just, you know, the price doesn't sound correct to me for some reason. But yeah, like usually I have actually pastels. I just, you know, today I'm starting my shift in about half an hour, and I want to finish this video. So yeah, we are adding this powder. Yeah, I think that is enough of it. It's already make, you know, patches of this kind of dry Martian soil. You can see it being here and here. And then I'm taking the lighter one. Well, it's not much lighter, really. When we are looking at that, you can see that it doesn't make much of a difference. Let me grab the more browny one. It's gonna definitely make much of a difference. Because this is a kind of oxide, new rust oxide recipe, whatever. It is much lighter, so we'll see how it's gonna contrast with this. Just sprinkle. Oh, that actually works so good, so well. Now I can just start working this in. Let me just sprinkle a little bit more. Now it is experimentation, sorry guys. I didn't want to experiment on this video, but yeah, it's changed purpose. So I'm just gonna sprinkle it everywhere. So okay, and I just need to grab a giant brush, like a normal paintbrush. to paint your walls, and just work it all in. And as well, you know, like the giant brushes do help knock off the excess of the rocks, you know, that didn't stock properly. There we go, that's after adding weathering powders. We have different textures, it's a little bit more interesting, yeah? Of course you can stop in here, yeah? But you can start adding little bits like this palette, for example, yeah? I know this is Mars, but I'm assuming that they're transporting the stock somehow, yeah? I'm assuming that in the smaller cases there might be a pallets, yeah? Maybe made out of wood, maybe made out of some sort of a metal, yeah? But you can add this, yeah? For me, what I'm gonna do to make it more interesting and to add another layer of line blocking, line of sight blocking, I'm gonna use this 3D printed container. So how you can see, I printed it and it didn't print very well, yeah? It's curved, yeah? So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna cut it, just grab the saw and sew it in. Something like that, so it's gonna look like it drops from the ship and just is buried into that hill. Yeah, and then a little bit of weathering on that and we're gonna be done. So this is definitely, you know, not a zero cost, yeah? But that hill up to that point, if you use stuff that you have around your house, it would probably cost you around, in glue and pastels, I would say probably way under £1 or €1 or $1. Yeah, because this container is free. Yeah, then of course you need to count any paints that you use, any weathering powder. Yeah, like I said, you can use the sand from the sandbox, gravel from anywhere. Yeah, so yeah, so let me just cut this in half and then I'm gonna stock it in here and we'll see how it looks like after I finish. So now I have this stock to my diorama, but you can see my hill, but you can see in here there is a big crack, so I'm gonna have to, well, it can actually be left, you know, as the container is actually crashed, yeah, and it is broken, so it's neither here nor there. But I'm just thinking, you know, that if something gonna dig so deeply into the soil, yeah, the soil would displaced, yeah, so normally I would use maybe some sort of a pieces of styrofoam, yeah, but today what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna add a kind of thick layer of super glue and just throw the little gravel into it. Because it is super glue, hopefully, you know, we did put enough layers of paint to stop it from eating the styrofoam, yeah? And if not, this video gonna be scrapped. So let's just add this and then we're gonna add the gravel. Yeah, of course this gravel, yeah, it's not too much of a displacement, you know, for this, but it might be buried in here for a while now. So let's just keep on doing it, and you know, winds or whatever, you know, just the kind of, you know, wear of time made of remove the displaced material from the soil. Okay, that crack is covered, so let's go with these ones. Again, I'm using super glue in here just because, you know, I'm rushing through it right now. Normally I would actually go for PVA. As well, I'm running out of PVA. So there we have it. Now what we have to do, wait for that super glue to dry. And then give it a paint job. So I'll be right back after I done that. So here we are, it's done. I completely forgot to film the, you know, finishing touches on the container. but it's neither here nor there. So in here, with the minimum effort, minimum cost, and minimum skills, really, we did build quite interesting piece of terrain, which can be used for, well, if you paint the gravel instead of red green, it can be used for Age of Sigmar, Warhammer Fantasy, or any other D&D game. Yeah, with this, what I done in here, it's more of a 40k / maybe even Gaslands universe. Yeah, but yeah, it's a fairly simple hill. Like I said, 0 skill, 0 cost, 0 effort. Yeah, and yeah. So if you like this video, please rate, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, family, and whoever else want to watch it. And everybody have a lovely day and take care. Bye.